Today I'll be cooking up a picanha from River Farms, and man, this is by far the best steak I've ever had. The next day I ended up grabbing some of this leftover picanha and I made the best steak sandwich I've ever had. Check it out. I'll be reverse searing these steaks using the slow and sear. For fuel, I'll be using a half a chimney of lump charcoal. Once the charcoal is lit, I'll be dumping it on the slow and sear. I will not be using any water in the water reservoir. Place in my foil for easy cleanup. I'll be cooking these steaks on the indirect sides until they reach 110 degrees. Then I'll be searing the steaks. This is known as the reverse sear method. But first, let's prep up the picanha. We'll be leaving the fat cap on. We'll also be cutting the steaks with the grain. This way the cooked steaks you'll be cutting against the grain. I was able to get 4 2-inch steaks out of this picanha. Cut them thinner and you will be able to get 5 or 6. For seasoning, I'll be using salt and pepper. I am really impressed with the marbling on these steaks. Make sure to get both sides and don't forget the fat cap. Use fresh ground pepper for extra flavor. Again, make sure you pepper the other side as well. I'm a big fan of dry brining, but this video was completely unplanned and didn't have the time. Today I'll only be cooking 3 of these steaks. Let's place these steaks on the indirect side. I'll be placing in my pit probe to monitor pit temperature. I'll also be using a probe to monitor internal meat temperature. Once the steaks reach 110 degrees, I'll be searing them until they reach 130 degrees. I'm using the pit probe today to illustrate a point, and that is to point out the difference between the temperature the lid thermometer is reading and the actual grate temperature. It's usually off about 100 degrees, and this is why you should never trust the temperature gauge on the lid. Okay, the steaks have reached 110. It's time to add more charcoal, remove my probes. These steaks are not done yet. They need a quick sear and reach 130 degrees for a nice medium rare. Let's get this pit nice and hot, and let's sear these steaks. These steaks are smelling really good. Go ahead and flip them and sear the other side. These steaks are starting to get a little bit of color. A couple of flips and they'll be good. I'm also going to be searing the fat cap. This has a lot of flavor. It might look like a lot of flames, but nothing's getting burnt. I'll go ahead and take a temperature reading. My target temperature is anywhere between 125 and 130. Hopefully with carryover, it won't go past 135. Let it rest, and then let's slice them up. Remember, you'll be cutting against the grain on these steaks. I hit that medium rare perfectly. They're perfectly seasoned, perfectly cooked, and they smell really good. We served it with a little side salad, and we all agreed it was one of the best steaks we've ever had. But there was a lot of steak and there was no way we could finish it all. So the next day we decided to slice it up and make ourselves a nice leftover picanha sandwich. We first grilled up a little bit of onion and peppers, then build out our sandwich. The picanha reheated really well. Even after hitting the pan for a little bit, it's still a nice medium. Added some cheese, and then I melted it. Let me add that onion and peppers, and some lettuce and tomato. I topped it off with a little avocado. And there it is, our leftover picanha sandwich. Now the Snake River's picanha is pricey, but it's definitely worth it. If you got the money, definitely treat yourself. I can't decide whether the steak dinner was better or the sandwich.